Well, as the excitement is only increasing for Prime Minister Modi's state visit to the United States, we have with us a very special guest, three-time Grammy winner and composer Ricky Kej, who's got an invite from the White House. He's now joining us here on CNN News 18. Ricky, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on CNN News 18.
Always a pleasure to be on CNN News 18. Thank you so much for having me.
Ricky, so we all saw the tweet that you put out with the invite that you got from the White House. Let's begin with that. How excited are you? There is palpable energy. We've been seeing the Indian diaspora get extremely excited. This is a very crucial visit, first state visit that we're seeing by the Prime Minister. How excited are you?
Extremely excited, actually, because I was in New York because I had a performance at the United Nations General Assembly just about 2 or 3 days ago, and I was also conferred my Global Goodwill Ambassador status. And while I was in my hotel room, I suddenly get this email from the White House saying that you've been invited for the event to welcome Prime Minister Modi on his state visit. So I was absolutely excited for this amazing state visit, because at the end of the day, it is one of the oldest democracies on this planet, and also by a huge margin, the largest democracy on this planet. So it's a great moment for the entire planet, not just for us.
Ricky, you've been, on the ground. The Indian diaspora, as I pointed out, is extremely excited. Every time we see the Prime Minister on a foreign trip, he takes out, specific time to meet the Indian diaspora. How is the mood on the ground? What are people telling you?
Now, of course, the mood is very, very exhilarating, to say the least. Just last night, I was being interviewed on Times Square. And as soon as the passerbyers, like Indian and some of them non-Indian, saw that it was an Indian crew and also an Indian person, that is me, they started asking us questions that, is this for Prime Minister Modi's visit? And also at the United Nations, when I was at the headquarters, pretty much every employee is talking about the World Yoga Day celebrations, which is going to happen tomorrow morning on the lawns. And everybody's thinking about this huge thing that is going to happen at the United Nations, and the Prime Ministers of India is going to be there. So there's a lot of excitement everywhere, and not just with the Indian diaspora, but especially the Indian diaspora.
Ricky, taking on from what you were saying, there's a lot of excitement also because of the International Yoga Day. Now, if I understand this correctly, you're going to release a new song on the occasion. Could you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. So I'm releasing a new song for World Yoga Day. So the song is called Wonders of Life. And what we've done is that we've collaborated with some amazing sound healers that is called Swaram from Pondicherry, that is Auroville. And they created all of these new musical instruments for sound healing, and we've collaborated on this beautiful musical piece for World Yoga Day. So I'm quite excited about that release too.
Ricky, I know you won't be able to give us much, but is it possible for you to hum us a few lines as a teaser for our viewers?
Actually, I don't sing at all. So the problem is that I'm really scared that if I try singing, then whatever little fans I have will run away. So that's why I never even attempt it. So probably we'll just hope for people to listen to the song once it's out.
Okay. Ricky, I also want to now talk to you about, as you were saying, the entire focus on yoga, the benefits around it. How do you see the kind of push that India has made as far as yoga and its prominence across the world is concerned?
I think yoga is going to become a big force to reckon with in the time to come. It already is, actually. And of course, Prime Minister Modi is quite responsible for the emergence of yoga all over the world, because of how much he promotes yoga, number one, and number two is that how he pushed for the World Yoga Day, the United Nations International Day of Yoga, making it an official United Nations Day. So I think right now, as we all know, most healthcare all over the world is all about treatment after you have a disease, and yoga is one of the few forms which actually talks about a life of wellness and preventative healthcare, as they call it in the West. So I believe that yoga is going to become extremely important, not just for our physical health, but for our mental well-being. And everybody's going to recognize that in the time to come.
And this is something that the Prime Minister also has spoken time and again, Ricky, that today what India is doing, the world is also going to take notice of. And we've seen world leaders, many from the world community also take notice as far as India's push towards yoga is concerned. But I also want to talk to you about another aspect, which is your new role as far as the Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations is concerned. One of the issues that we're expecting both the leaders to be discussed is also about climate change. How important do you think that is as part of our conversation today?
I think climate change is the biggest existential threat we've ever faced. There is no two ways about that. And I think it's a very important discussion between these two amazing countries. When it comes to climate change, when it comes to any kind of environmental issues, especially when there are intergovernmental talks, India has always been on the sidelines when it comes to this. And it's only for the last, 6, 7 years that India has actually taken the leadership when it comes to this. So we are not only participating in these discussions, but we're also taking leadership when it comes to these discussions and bringing about change. A very good example of this is the Solar Alliance that India had announced during the COP21 in Paris, that is in 2015. A beautiful partnership between countries that have a tropical climate to actually create enough electricity that can power up the global south. So I believe that India is taking huge strides when it comes to mitigating the effects of climate change, taking on massive responsibilities and huge ambitious goals. And the way Prime Minister Modi is going with this, I believe that all of these goals are achievable if all of us work together. And that's also the reason why Prime Minister Modi has started his Life Mission. So Life Mission is about lifestyles for environment, and it's all about us taking the power in our own hands as individuals and making changes within our own lives, within our own capacities to bring about change. So I think all of these will contribute strongly to mitigating the effects of climate change and make this world a better place, not just for us Indians, but for everybody everywhere in the world.
Okay, Ricky, we'll leave that conversation there. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Hoping to speak to you sometime soon after this visit is over.